Okay, let's unpack this. You came to us with some really interesting source material, all focused on a very specific, very stressful feeling. It's that sense that a huge breakthrough, a big job, a crucial investment is right there, but it's only available if you act right now. It feels like a great opportunity, but it's just wrapped in this intense pressure.
Right.
So our mission today is to cut through all of that noise. We're going to try and extract the concrete signals that, differentiate a real opportunity from just a tactic.
The manufactured urgency.
Exactly. A manufactured urgency designed to bypass your better judgment. Because the key tension is this. When something feels rushed, we think it's high risk. But what if that feeling isn't about risk at all? What if it's just pressure?
And that distinction is really the core of all the material you shared. It argues that pressure and genuine opportunity are fundamentally different things.
Even if they look identical on the surface.
Even then, we really need to internalize how they operate differently. I mean, a genuine opportunity, it gives you space.
Space to think.
Space to think, to ask the hard questions, the skeptical questions, to step back, sleep on it, and come back later without the whole thing falling apart. It has resilience.
And pressure.
Pressure is the opposite. It's defined by how it immediately takes that space away. It agilely narrows your vision, it limits your options, and forces you to decide before you're ready.
Under the guise of, this is your only chance.
Precisely. And for you, the listener, spotting that difference is crucial. Because if you see the pressure, you can just step out of the information overload and, avoid a really costly mistake.
So let's get into why this tactic is so effective. Because when we talk about it here, it sounds so obvious. You think, how could anyone fall for that?
But in the moment, it works.
Nearly every time. The
Yeah.
sources make this key point. Pressure doesn't argue with your logic. It doesn't even try. It bypasses it completely.
It does. It's a shortcut straight past the executive function of your brain. That feeling of, I have to act now, triggers a very specific, very ancient physiological response.
The fight or flight response.
That's essentially it. Our brain shifts instantly from what psychologists call system 2 thinking, which is, slow, analytical, effortful to system 1 thinking. Fast, intuitive, and designed for pure survival.
So you basically go from being the CEO of your own decision to being, the overwhelmed intern who just needs to get the paperwork filed.
That is a perfect analogy. And the consequence of that shift is huge. When pressure shows up, your thinking literally narrows. You stop seeing the details in the margins.
The fine print.
The fine prints, the other options. And the questions you should be asking suddenly feel inconvenient.
To them and to you.
Yes, critically, to yourself. Doubt, which is normally a healthy signal, gets reframed as something dangerous. Like you're being weak or you're about to sabotage this huge win.
And it's so important to say this isn't a personal failing.
Absolutely not. The sources are so clear on this. This is just how the human brain is wired. It's a brilliant tactic because it hijacks our natural response to, seeing a snake in the grass.
A real emergency.
A real emergency. And it applies it to deciding on, a new software package or an investment. It turns a protective mechanism against us.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. Once you understand the mechanism, you can start to spot the signals. We're moving into the most valuable part of the sources now, a concrete list of common pressure signals, red flags. So we should slow this down and name them. The rule here is simple. If you notice one, you pause. If you notice several, you step back completely.
Let's do it. Let's detail these 5 common signals. The first one is probably the one we all see the most.
Which is?
Number 1 is artificial urgency. This is your classic time-sensitive lever, but in high-stakes situations, it's more insidious.
It's not just sale ends Friday.
No. It's a job offer that expires in 12 hours. It's an investment pitch tied to some sudden market event that means you have to wire funds by the end of the day.
Right. The minute the timeline gets faster than the time you need for a proper review, it's a setup.
Exactly. The insight here is, if something is genuinely valuable, it usually doesn't just disappear overnight. A good deal can withstand your lawyer looking at it for 48 hours.
Yeah, if it can't, the rush is the product, not the opportunity. Okay, number 2.
Number 2, social pressure. This one leverages that really deep human fear of being left behind.
The FOMO.
100%. In a professional context, you'll hear things like, all the top people in your field are already in, or you need to get in now to be part of the initial group that makes the real money.
So it replaces your own independent thinking with just comparison.
It does. The question shifts from, is this actually a good idea, to, am I going to look like a fool if I hesitate? Hesitation is made to feel like you're falling behind your peers.
Which is incredibly powerful because it targets your identity, your status.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to the third signal, which is authority pressure.
Yes, this is all about leveraging implied trust in the person pushing the deal. They focus on their history, not the actual substance of the deal itself.
The language is always, trust me, I've done this 1,000 times, or I know what works.
You just need to follow my system. Now, of course, experience matters. You should value real expertise.
Well, wait, how do we square that? I mean, how do we distinguish between genuine expertise that we should trust and someone using authority as a bypass? Because sometimes you do just have to trust an expert.
That is a really, really important question. The distinction is this. Genuine expertise brings clarity. They want you to understand. They offer transparency, data, the why behind their advice.
Okay.
Authority pressure demands blind faith. It says, believe this because I said so. And they often use their track record to shut down your questions. If they get annoyed that you're asking for details, that's authority pressure.
That makes perfect sense. Clarity welcomes questions, pressure shuts them down. Okay, number 4, and this one is everywhere in complex fields. Complexity as intimidation.
Oh, yes. This is a favorite tactic for rushing really analytical people. The idea isn't to be vague, it's to be overwhelmingly technical.
So they drown you in details.
They drown you in jargon to give you these incredibly complex answers, and they subtly make your very reasonable questions feel naive.
I feel like I've been in meetings where they use 3 unnecessary acronyms just to make sure nobody questions the budget.
Exactly that. The insight is that confusion is often an active strategy to rush agreement. If you feel too intimidated to admit you don't understand, you're much more likely to just nod and agree.
It stifles the inquiry you need to make?
It does. And that brings us to the last one, number 5, which is often the most charged. Emotional leverage.
Okay.
This is about playing directly on your deepest feelings, your fears. We're talking about using the fear of regret. You don't want to look back in 5 years and realize you missed this.
Oh, that's a powerful one.
It is. Or playing on your identity. People with your ambition always seize opportunities like this. When emotion is being used specifically to force you to be faster, the sources are clear. You need extreme caution. Your own ambition is being weaponized against you. So let's connect this back to why this is so much more important for you, as someone with more experience. The sources draw a really critical line here.
Right. You said earlier in life, a mistake like this costs you some time, maybe some money. It's a lesson learned.
A tolerable loss, exactly. But later on, when you have more established stability, the stakes are so much higher. A bad decision can cost you confidence in your own judgment.
It can destabilize your financial security.
And, maybe worst of all, it can erode the trust you have in yourself. And that kind of self-doubt can be crippling long after the money is gone.
So that's why our instincts might feel sharper now. It's not about being negative or cynical.
Not at all. The source material suggests it's pure, hard-earned instinctual protection. It's an awareness that the cost of being wrong has gone up.
Which totally reframes that uneasy gut feeling. It's not a weakness, it's a signal, it's a critical awareness. And that leads us perfectly into the simple protective rule. This is maybe the most practical takeaway from this whole deep dive.
It's a great one.
The rule is so simple, so easy to remember. If a decision can't wait, even briefly, it likely isn't right for you.
That's it.
It just gives you immediate permission to hit the pause button and check for those 5 signals we just talked about.
It's the ultimate defense mechanism. Real opportunities, the good ones, they can wait. They actually invite scrutiny. Pressure, on the other hand, it's fragile. It just collapses the moment you pause or question it.
So if you say, I need 48 hours for my lawyer to review this, and the offer just vanishes.
Then you know with absolute certainty what you just avoided.
So what does this all mean?
What it means is that your uneasy feeling isn't fear. It's awareness. It's your brain telling you that someone is trying to bypass your critical thinking, and you've just spotted it.
The goal isn't to become suspicious of everything.
No, not at all. The goal is to give yourself the authority to just slow down any moment that feels rushed, to prioritize clarity over speed.
Because pressure needs speed.
Pressure needs speed to survive because it can't withstand analysis. But clarity, real insight, real knowledge that needs space to breathe.
That uneasy feeling, then, is a skill. It's awareness.
It's a profound awareness that a bypass is being attempted. And cultivating that is one of the valuable things you can do.
And we want you to cultivate not just the awareness, but the reaction to it.
Yeah.
The source material points to what comes next. Figuring out how to take, quote, safe first steps.
How to move forward without locking yourself in.
Right. So we'll leave you with a final provocative thought. If that simple protective rule has just saved you from some artificial urgency, the next challenge isn't just saying no, it's figuring out what those safe first steps actually look like.
Mhm.
How do you actively engineer a process for due diligence that a manipulator can't bypass? How do you gather information without committing and effectively take back the space that pressure just tried to steal from you?